Hey, listen up, you perfectly imperfect flaw in a very broken design. Relax, I'm not here to bite. I'm just here to remind you of something that's been haunting them lately. You see, they want you back now. Isn't that adorable? Not because they finally understand you, not because they grew, not because remorse suddenly turned them into emotionally mature adults. No, they want you back because the market changed. And you're no longer cheap. Last year, you were accessible. Too accessible. Overgiving, over-explaining, overextending. You showed up early. You stayed late. You absorbed emotional damage like it was part of the job description. You softened boundaries to keep peace. You explained your intentions to people who benefited from misunderstanding you. Let me ask you something. How many times did you try to be fair with people who were never fair to you? Yeah, I thought so. You were premium quality, sold at clearance price. And they shopped like fools who thought the tag would never change. They assumed you'd always be there, always forgiving, always available, always adjustable. That assumption, that was their first bad investment. Because this year, your price didn't go up because you demanded more. It went up because you became more. You learned, you detached, you recalibrated. You stopped negotiating with people who survived by misunderstanding you. You stopped proving worth to people who measured value by convenience. And suddenly, they noticed. Funny how absence sharpens eyesight, huh? Now they remember you differently, not as someone they could access any time, but as the standard they haven't been able to replace. Have you noticed it too? They compare everyone else to you, and everyone else feels thinner, less depth, less loyalty, less substance. That's when regret stops screaming and starts whispering, because whispering lasts longer. They don't miss you at first. They miss the benefits. You were the one who regulated chaos, translated emotions, buffered consequences, held space without demanding applause. You made things work quietly. And when that quiet work disappeared, everything started wobbling. Here's the part they don't like to admit. They want the whole package back without acknowledging the cost. But listen carefully. Your price didn't rise out of arrogance. It rose out of clarity. This year taught you things they were never ready to pay for. That access is expensive. That emotional labor is currency. That consistency is rare. That patience has a shelf life. And once you understand your value, you stop accepting currencies that don't convert. So they come back, with apologies that sound like negotiations, with nostalgia disguised as growth, with "I've changed" energy that hasn't survived pressure testing. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have their actions actually changed, or are they just better at talking? Exactly. They try to enter your life using last year's terms, and they're shocked when the door doesn't open. Because now, your price includes boundaries. Your price includes peace. Your price includes accountability, consistency, emotional maturity, respect without reminders. And they're broke in all those areas. Last year, you would have lowered yourself to make it work. This year, you let silence do the talking. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't audition. You don't reteach lessons that already cost you pain. That's when panic sets in for them, because they realize something terrifying. They no longer qualify. You don't argue anymore. You don't react the same. You don't bite when baited. You move like someone who understands leverage. And that terrifies people who survived on your generosity. They say you've changed. Of course you have. You stopped subsidizing disrespect. Let's be honest. Your presence used to be easy to access because you made it that way. You believed connection meant sacrifice. You believed love meant endurance. You believed loyalty meant staying even when it hurt. This year taught you something far more dangerous. Staying is optional. And once you learn that, everything recalibrates. Now when they talk to you, the energy feels different. You're not cold, you're composed. You're not angry, you're selective. You're not distant, you're intentional. They can't read you anymore because you're no longer playing emotional poker with your cards face up. You learned to keep your hand close. Your laughter doesn't come from relief now, it comes from safety. Your calm isn't fragile, it's earned. Your confidence isn't loud, it's settled. And people who knew you when you were overgiving struggle to interact with you when you're self-governed. They want the old you, because the old you was affordable. The new you requires investment, and investment scares people who never planned to pay full price. They remember your patience, your flexibility, your forgiveness. They forget one thing. Kindness without boundaries is just access, and access has been revoked. This year, you don't respond to potential. You respond to patterns. You don't fall for promises. You watch behavior. You don't rush decisions. You let time expose intent. That's expensive energy. So they come back with charm, but charm doesn't cover the cost anymore. They come back with words, but words don't carry weight without consistency. They come back with regret, but regret doesn't rebuild trust without change. And change is costly. They try to guilt you with history, memories, shared moments. But history doesn't grant discounts. If anything, it raises the price, because you remember exactly what it cost you the first time. You're not bitter, you're educated. When they say you're too strict now, too distant, too unavailable, what they really mean is, you're no longer convenient for me. And that's the punchline. You didn't become harder to love. You became harder to use. Your standards are non-negotiable. Your peace is non-refundable. Your time is appointment only. Your energy doesn't go on credit. Anyone who wants access has to show receipts, not promises. They can't, so they hover. Watch. Test the waters with casual messages. And you don't bite. Not because you hate them, because you know the cost of letting them in. Your price includes emotional safety now, and they can't afford to provide it. That's the irony. They didn't lose you when you left. They lost you when they assumed you'd stay at the same price forever. Markets change. People evolve. Value appreciates. And this year, you're trading at a level they never prepared for. Here's the part they won't say out loud. They don't want you back. They want the version of you that didn't know better. The one who ignored red flags. The one who gave silent chances. The one who explained behavior that never deserved understanding. That version? Gone. Burned away. This year taught you brutal truths. Love without respect is charity. Loyalty without reciprocity is self-betrayal. Being nice to people who exploit kindness isn't virtue, it's negligence toward yourself. And once you learn that, you don't downgrade again. They feel it in your presence now. Even when you say nothing, your boundaries speak louder than arguments ever did. You don't over-explain. You don't soften truths. You don't negotiate your needs like optional add-ons. That calm certainty, it terrifies people who depended on your emotional availability to feel powerful. They replay conversations, scroll memories, blame distance, anything except the truth. You didn't get cold, you got clear. And clarity is expensive. So let them shop elsewhere. You're no longer on sale. Smile. You earned that price.